So welcome back to Confessions of a Beauty... Welcome back to Confessions of a Beauty...
in that bottle?
Well, who knows?
I know. I think we usually need it during the week. I like a wee Tuesday morning or a wee Monday morning vodka. Is that maybe just my leftovers for the weekend?
Aye, probably. Topping you up. What is it, that drink, the drink in Greece? Is it that apparently if you drink water it makes you drunk again?
Ouzo?
Aye.
Aye.
Is that real?
No, that's true. That's true. If you drink ouzo and then you top it up, it just dilutes it, but it gives you the same, you get the same kind of a... I've heard that.
It's maybe worth trying.
I'm going to Google that.
We'll drink this on tonight and then hammer the water on a Monday and see how we go.
Hydration.
Okay, so we put a question and answer box out in our social media, and it was Ask Us Anything, and our wee Adam, I love Adam.
Oh.
Adam Stewart had popped in. Can you talk about creating a happy workplace for all? Because obviously he sees how happy our girls are within the salon and stuff. It kind of leads us on to another topic which we were going to cover anyway. And it's, do you know, again, one of those trends on TikTok just now that people have photographs and it's like things we do as a salon owners that might not always meet the norm.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of sits in the same bracket by some of the stuff that we do that other salons perhaps don't do that keep our team happy. Mm-hmm. So let's start with flexibility is key.
Yes, absolutely. We've always done this. Mm-hmm. This goes back to... I don't mean I started it, we started it in our place, but it was something that's inbred in me. So years and years ago in the industry that I worked in, our accountants that we used had the same staff for years, literally years. You know, they all knew each other. They'd all kind of developed together and everything. And it was because the guy who owned it, who had been a single dad at the time, so him and his wife had split up and he had his wee boy. So he needed flexibility because he had like 70% care of his wee son. He only went to his mum's at weekends or whatever. So he had to be really flexible with working for picking up after schools and things like that. So the company that he worked for at the time, that's why he started his own business. The company he worked for at the time wouldn't let him do that.
Right,
so he then changed the rules and said, no, when I start my own business, I'm going to be more flexible. So all the staff that worked for him, you know, you got to do your kind of a school hours while your kids were wee, and then when your kids got older, you went back to doing your full-time hours. Mm-hmm. And then the new ones that came in that had kids got to take those flexible hours.
Kind of refreshing from a man as honestly, well, isn't it?
I know,
especially in that kind of time period.
That was 30 years ago, 25, 30 years ago. So that was how it kind of got into my mind, because I always used to remember that how his team looked up to him and thought, you know, he was a great employer. Again, they did the whole going to be at Christmas and they used to take them away for a weekend at Christmas with their partners, you know, their families. They used to take them away
he must have been earning buckets.
Brussels, Paris or whatever, and that would be their Christmas weekend away and things like that. So he treated his staff really well, which I always looked at. And the employers that I worked for at the same time did the same for me. Yeah. They let me work around my kids.
From my standpoint, coming from the industry that we're in, there was no flexibility. No. Now it has changed. It's changed a lot. But pre-Eve, when I had my daughter, I worked in salons, spas, and it was still the same old... You'll get a Sunday and a Wednesday off. You don't even get 2 days off together. You work long days.
You're there at night time.
There's non-negotiables. You work, I probably worked 4 evenings a week, and I started at 10 o'clock in the morning, finishing at 9 o'clock at night. It was just a non-negotiable. Yeah. There was times that basically someone phoned in sick or something happened and you just got told I don't care that you've just worked 7 days in a row. I'm afraid that you can't, like that was the industry back then. And I knew what I was getting myself into because that's the industry I chose. But when I was planning and trying for Eve, that's when I was like, nah, I'm not going back to that with a baby. I want to have time with my baby. And that's why I started Urban Retreat from my home a year before Eve was even conceived, because I thought I'm starting to build momentum with this. So when
you said you had to do 2 jobs at that time because you didn't have the client base, so you then worked in
I started off doing an eyebrow wax a week. So while I was at a salon that I worked in, I started Urban Retreat, fell pregnant with Eve, had Eve, and then really got into building Urban and didn't go back to the salon, and that's when I took my care job on. I had a lovely wee guy, Billy. He was so cute, and I was his main carer, but it was just that way. It was like I need flexibility. This the life that I want. I want to be a present mum. I want to see all our school shows. I want to see all our nursery things. I want to be able to take her to toddler groups. And that was the only way to do it back then, was to be self-employed. Yeah. So from my standpoint, it was like, when I have my salon, because I knew it was in the stars, when I have my salon, it needs to be flexible around mums or any dads, whoever comes to work there, because this isn't sustainable and it won't make you happy, missing key things in your kids' lives.
Yeah. And I think we've got that balance. So always, when
it has to be balanced. That's the only thing.
Yeah, because that's the only thing. Because not everybody can work 9 to 2 when their kids are in school.
We wish. We wish.
Because people then have to come at night to get their treatments and all the rest of it. So when we recruit for the roles, we usually put out the hours that we're looking for somebody to do, because then if they come for the interview, they're aware that that's the hours that we need.
We're very transparent.
It must suit them. They wouldn't come for the interview if those hours weren't good for them. And with some people it does work if it's evenings, because they've maybe got like
their husband comes back,
their husband comes home, or they've got a grandparent that will keep them for a couple of hours till the husband comes in, or they can get their wee ones from school at 3 and drop them off and then come to work when their husband's home, all that kind of stuff. So we've always been very transparent when we advertise for the role, and the people start the job knowing that's their hours. However, as time's gone by with all our girls, we've changed and adapted and tweaked for all of them over the years. Yeah. You know, they'll come back and say, oh, I can't get childcare now on a Tuesday night.
But it's not always just about kids. Childcare. So like wee Erin, she's right into her gym now, and she's like, can I start doing more later nights and just start later in the day, because I want to do my gym in the morning. We're like, perfect, because we need more cover at night time. Rach, she's wanting to get back into her dancing again. So we're like, that's fine. Erin can take over that evening. You can come in through the day. So there's always a wee bit of jiggery pokery. Like you can swap things about, as you say, but it's within reason. You can't get to the point that everybody just works like school hours. Otherwise you wouldn't have a business. But as flexible as you can be. And then as well, people, last minute parents night, or want to see my kids' nativity and stuff like that. Give us enough notice, and absolutely we'll
try and tweak it.
We'll tweak it round, and
because it does affect the business. If you give your therapist 6 hours off, the income that brings into your business affects, because you don't have that money coming in. So we need to budget for that beforehand. We need to think, well, could you do a wee couple of hours somewhere else to make that up, or if you swap your day for that week or whatever. But then that doesn't always work, because if they all want the evenings off, it doesn't work either. So it's having that flexibility. And just now, we've talked about this on air before, about how we're trying to recruit for a new hairdresser, nail tech and therapist, for that balance again, to give our girls a bit more flexibility again.
So there's more people there to juggle more the times.
So that if somebody has to be off, or somebody's off sick, one of the girls recently, through a family bereavement, had to take some time off. So it's like, if we had that flexibility, there would be somebody else there to pick up the hours, rather than just the girls that we've got and we rely on them again and say, you'll need to work that day.
I know.
And we never do that. I don't think we ever say to them, you have to come in.
No. And then if we're saying it would be really helpful, can you do it? I'll swap this and that. And if they turn around and have something else on, We've all got lives. That comes to the next thing that I was going to talk about as well, that again, back in the culture of when I started out in the industry, you were made to feel guilty if you had a family bereavement, or you were made to feel guilty if, like I worked in a spa that they worked us that much doing back-to-back massages. I had wrist sprints on because I had
carpal tunnel.
So, and it was on anti-inflammatory, so still made to do massage. Wouldn't happen in this day and age. No. People fainting in the massage rooms because they were doing that many massages. Wild, right? But one of your team members, she fell off her horse. She hurt her. She sprained her wrist. And she came in and she was showing us, and we're like, it's fine. And she was getting all upset because she's like, it's last minute, because it was on the day she was supposed to work. And we're like, listen, your clients will understand. It's absolutely fine. We'll sort this. And then she was like, I can come back next week. And I was like, no, you need 2 weeks off at least for that to heal properly, because I don't want you coming back and damaging it more. And then obviously in between that, she's had some family circumstances that someone in her family's passed away, which is awful. And again, she was due to come back, so she's been off for a few weeks, and she's due to come back, and she's like, I don't think I can do that Sunday because there's prep work going on for like, the funeral and stuff, and it wasn't an issue. It was just like, right, okay, we'll try and get cover. We couldn't get cover, but it's all right. So Eve spent yesterday changing all the clients, and the clients were absolutely fine about it.
I think we always got all upset thinking, oh my God, the clients aren't going to be happy.
But we don't push that onto the girls.
No.
That's the thing. That's the difference, because back in my day, you were made to feel guilty regardless of what the situation was, and you would make it, and then when you come back to work, it was that whole uncomfortable walking in eggshells.
Well, I remember that from a previous company I worked for, when you took a day off sick and you had to come back the next day. I'd be ill. I'd be more sick coming back because I knew my boss at the time, who was a guy,
going to be terrible.
Make me look proper childish behaviours, like ignoring me and giving me the cold shoulder for the day and things like that, and making me feel
You're
so
doing
guilty.
all the bad jobs for the day.
Sweeping the floor and taking the bins out all day.
So that's one thing I can take pride in and say that we don't do that. We're very understanding when things crop up, and very supportive as well. Like our Lindsay, she'll not mind us saying she's been off for a year now. She's still part of our team. She might not be on.
She comes to our nights out. She still comes to team meetings.
And then we're already talking about, right, if your strength's not back to the levels that it was before, because she had Guillain-Barré syndrome last year, unfortunately, we're going to put her through the award in education, and she can teach because she's phenomenal. So,
because we don't want to lose her as a team member.
No, because she's important. We value her as a team member. So I definitely think that's one thing that we can be proud of, and we do perhaps differently than other people.
I think how quickly we just adapt things. You know, when something like that comes up, it's like, right, what do we do? You know, and we'll just have a quick chat about it and speak to the person and, right, okay, well, we'll find a solution. You know, nobody's died. It's not the end of the world.
That's what we constantly say, isn't it? Let me see what else I've got in the list for things that we might do a wee bit differently. So quarterly team meetings, this is usually 2 to 3 hours that we block out of absolutely every team member time. Now remember, this is paid, and people who own a salon will know, oh my God, you're paying them, you're not bringing in any money. But these are so valuable to us, having these quarterly team meetings. We do a bit of housekeeping. We reinforce our team values for any new team members, or just to talk about them again to existing team members. And then we always play like fun games or something like that. This
we
one,
took it to the extreme this time.
That was Rachel. God love her. They all get to choose. We usually kind of prep things.
That was a kind of off day, wasn't it? You weren't feeling great, and it was just like we hadn't got a game planned specifically.
We had a wee writing one, but then they weren't
done it dead quick, and we had time at the end, and we said, right, what will we do?
Rachel wanted to play hide and seek in the salon, and some of them were like, no. And then I was like, oh, just let her go and play hide and seek.
5 of them took part.
Do you know what?
Done so well.
What a laugh that was, because we were the ones going to find them. That was, look out for the social media reel, because we've got it all in. It was so funny, wasn't it?
So
it was
we were
one of those
with the camera trying to find them in the rooms, and you could hear some of them giggling, some of them were hiding in the craziest places. And then we all went back into the meeting, and we all sat down for 5 minutes. We were all sitting chatting, and we forgot at the last minute.
Oh no,
Caitlin had decided to play. We thought she'd gone to the loo. She'd decided to play, and she was
10
hiding.
minutes later,
she came into the room and she was like, did nobody come and look for me?
I know, he's so...
It was such a shame. It was like childhood trauma, like forgetting one of your children. It was like we drove away and left them in a supermarket or something. I felt so bad. Her wee face when she came back in, she's like, did I win?
She's a wee soul that's going through it just now as well. I was like, oh,
we made it worse.
I feel so bad. But she was laughing. She was laughing at me. But that's the unpredictability of our team meetings as well, isn't it? But everybody ended up having good fun, high vibes.
God, we've done ones in the past. Remember the challenge at Christmas? You went to wrap up a pot or something like that. They went to wrap the pot, and they won a spaddy each and things like that.
The last one was the one at Christmas time was they had to come up with their own treatment protocol, because that's another thing I think is important, making your team part of decisions going forward of... Like Caitlin, for instance, has got great creative ideas for new treatments. So giving that autonomy to them as well makes them feel valued.
So she put that treatment together, and we launched it in the salon.
And everybody in her wee team won 50 quid in cash in hand each.
Yep.
So again, it might look like you're losing a lot of money in that time, but it's so valuable to bring your team back together. A lot of our team don't work with each other as well, because they're like wee passing ships. So it just means that they can all have a wee bit of time together as well.
And see, for those wee prizes that we give out, like the wee cash prizes and the wee days and things like that, we budget for that. We put that aside. So each month as our money comes in, when we're doing all our banking and things at the end of the month, we have a wee envelope and we put the money away for that so that we can give them wee treats and do wee things. Because other than that, it's like some months aren't great and you're thinking,
you're scrambling for
we've
money.
got a team meeting and we promised them we would give them a wee treat. So we don't have the money to do it. So just try and, if you've had a month where you've, like December month or whatever, just a wee bit of it, skim a wee bit of it aside and just put it away. We've talked about this in lots of previous episodes about tax pots and VAT pots and, wee pots for this. And like when we get money in for courses, we put away the certificate money into a different wee pot. And
it's just works well now, doesn't it? Because it's less stressful.
The first few years we were so scared to take it out the bank and put it away because we kept thinking we need to build that money in the bank up, and then we would get panicky when the VAT came round. And whereas
even
it's
back to the team again, like the incentives of putting the money away as well. Like we do a big one every Christmas, the top performing, again, I think we've spoken about this before, but top performer of the whole year. We've done a grand in your hand, tax free. We've done a weekend away, spa for 2. So these are all incentives for your team as well to keep them happy and make them feel valued.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another one as well is, again, it's probably a thing now that everybody does, but back in my day they didn't do it. Was any CPD training. I used to have to go on my day off to do it. Yeah. You wouldn't get paid for it because the way they seen it was they're paying for your CPD and you've got that forever afterwards. Whereas I'm sure everybody does this now, but we pay our team for having we pay for the CPD and we pay for them to be there. Because
I don't think a lot of places do that. I think maybe bigger spas do, but I would imagine smaller businesses maybe don't.
I don't know how it works these days. Be interesting to hear your opinions.
Get your thoughts on whether or not you're...
I just didn't think that would be allowed these days.
Don't know.
So, so we're, as Kate said before, we're big in CPD, so they all get paid for their CPD days and they get their extra accreditation out of it as well. Which in turn helps us in our salon because you're bringing new treatments in and everybody's same level of qualified, so you're never then scrambling about to see who does what.
Yeah, if somebody's not in, the other person can pick it up because they all do the same treatments. And I think that must be hard in big spas. We know quite a few with big teams and they're always trying to bring them all up to that level, but then it's, if they've got people off sick, it's how do they get the people out to get them their training. So it's really, really hard.
They have to split it in spas because you can't just close the spa down for a day. Like we're different. We can do, our salon isn't open on a Monday, so that's a key day for us to bring people in to do it. They're open 7 days. So they just have to split their team in half to do that.
That's what I'm saying. It's hard because say they've done half of them and then somebody new joins or somebody leaves. It's getting that person finding them time when they're bedding them in to get them brought up to the same level.
Standard as
if somebody else is off sick, that they can just jump in. So it must be juggling constantly because the turnover in bigger spas is higher. Yeah. People come and go all the time because their manager maybe leaves and goes to another one and takes half the team and then that manager comes from there and brings half the team. And
I know.
So it's getting them all trained at the same level and getting it all a balance.
Let me see. Can you think of any other ones that maybe other people don't do?
Again, it's all down to team meetings and things like that. We just done our reception team meetings. It's just doing that whole refreshing all their skills again, you know, how so that they're all welcoming clients the same, they're all dealing with the appointments the same way. Because when you look at Timely or booking system, there's ways to do it a few different ways.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of them are doing things differently. So bringing them all in. So like Siobhan's been there the kind of longest just now. And then there's Georgia who's just joined, and then there's the girls that cover at weekends and things like that, like Eve. So bringing them in, and Siobhan, who's there most, realising like things aren't getting done the same way, so she picks up the problems the next day. So it was like bringing all of them together and sitting them down.
Siobhan's amazing. She's such a problem solver.
And then she was like that to them all. If you do it that way, it saves this, and that makes her job easier as well because she's in the most days and things.
Getting
like
them all on the same page.
So getting everybody on the same page.
Another thing I've got down is showing how much your team members mean to you in many ways, even if that means that they've outgrown us. So there's a specific team member that left and opened up her own salon and a bit of training, and we've sent her, so we don't train in nails anymore, and we send her in another training academy all the nail inquiries we get. So again, it's that collaboration over competition. And see, if there's never been any beef, why should there be beef just because they're leaving your business?
We don't do it.
Yeah.
And when she worked with us, we absolutely adored her.
Yeah, she was amazing.
She went through some things with us. We grew together,
And we still check in on each other.
Absolutely.
We still like, oh, how you doing? And you look like you're doing great. We keep saying we're going to catch up and we've not done it yet, but that's life, isn't it?
That's because she's busy doing what she's doing. We're busy doing what we're doing. But it's really, really
and then
hard.
like Tyler going off to Australia and stuff, it's just so lovely to see how much he's grown. But and the fact that when he came home a year ago there at Christmas, we were one of the ones that he wanted to see, which was lovely because who does want to see their past employers?
I know. But that's how the whole team thing, do you know what I mean? Where we try and look after them and hopefully they'll see it. Some people don't. And again, is that whole how the person leaves is really important. And this is for everybody out there. If you have outgrown a place and you're ready to move on, do it fairly, respectfully, with open communication.
Be transparent about it.
I'm at my ceiling here. It's nothing to do with you. It's my circumstances. My life's changed, or whatever it is. I really want to move on. How can we do it smoothly?
With Tracy, we always knew it was on her radar. She came and did the award in education course with us. She put herself through that. We offered her a therapist position and some teaching hours at the time because we needed that. What she done, she took on board. She came, she grew with us. And then it just became the right time for her. She's seen a premises that was just last minute and it was right for her. And we wished her well. And same with Emily, same with Carly. Yeah. Like Emily is an author and she got to write a book and it was the most exciting. So it can be bittersweet because you love that person. But how amazing they're going to follow their dreams because we followed ours. So why should we stop MD from following their dreams?
Yeah, and again, it's just that how it's done.
Yeah.
Be honest about it because, again, in this industry, we know that if somebody leaves to do their own thing, they'll have their relationships with their clients.
Of course they will.
And it's really difficult. And if the client chooses to go and follow them, that's a different thing altogether than them telling all the clients, come with me, which I don't think is fair because you've built their career, you've given them their CPD, you've helped them along in their journey, you've been there through personal things for them. So it's that whole transparency and giving notice and understanding and allowing us to not affect our business. Just think about it as not affecting our business to grow your own. It's only human decency really, isn't it?
You'll get people jumping in that, being like, trolling you for that comment.
I know.
It'll be like, you can't determine.
No,
but we're not
determining.
We're basically saying, yes, their clients will follow them, but just don't be so
off about it. I don't know how. What the right
like
word
I think
is.
what we've experienced, probably a wee bit more context to the story is what we've experienced before. It's almost like certain people have turned against us and made us look bad. Yeah. So they would gain from that.
They've used it to take clients. They've used it as if we were
rather than
rather than just saying I'm going and I'm going to be here because I've outgrown this and I'm moving on. But they've said things that made it as if we weren't treating them very nice. It's made them do it.
Yeah.
And everybody's perspective on things is different. It's only human nature.
I can't see us ever being horrible to him. I think we're walkovers more than anything else. So
you say that some days are laughing. Here we go again, going again. But all right.
My last one that I noted down as well is that might not be popular in some people's views, but I've barred a few clients.
Yeah.
Barred a few clients if they've been rude to our team members or rude to us, or more often rude to the team members.
Yeah.
I can even remember one from years ago. She was horrible to Siobhan. And I was just like, no, I had enough. And because I called her out in it, in a professional way, may I add, the woman burst out greeting and then started saying that she was appalled by the fact that I'd brought this up to her. But I was like, well, what made you think it was okay to speak to a team member of mine in the manner in which you did?
Yeah. We had another one recently, not so long ago, and it was the same situation.
Yeah.
It wasn't us. They didn't do anything to us.
No.
But they wouldn't have done it. I don't think they would have done it to a more mature person.
I
they did it to a younger girl.
Sometimes certain traits in some people, you can see how they speak to... I don't even think it's the age. Sometimes it's different levels, which disgusts me. I don't care what you're doing within the business. Everybody should be treated as one. Yeah. Our Saturday girl should be treated the same way as I get treated. That's my view on life. That's how I was brought up. Yeah. But I can see certain people if we walk out, the change happens in their manner, their tone, etc. And it's unacceptable.
Yeah, because that day that happened, and I happened to be in the building when it was happening, and I could tell by the tone when I went into the room that the tone changed, the way the person was reacting to the team member. When I went into the kind of surrounding area, it stopped, and I thought...
And it wasn't till afterwards, but that we found out the severity
I didn't know the full story
of it.
at the time, because I just happened to be in getting something out of the cafe for my breakfast that day, and I just happened to wander in. So, and then later on in the day, it became apparent about how that person had been treated in the morning, and I was just like, no. So it was a nice, polite email. I just don't think we're for you.
We're the right fit, and that's it. You don't have to be an asshole about it. It's like, we're not the right fit for you. Perhaps you may be better finding another salon that is. Thank you for all your custom. We appreciate it. We wish you well. End of. You're not bound back in. Blocked. So
I know, as you say, this could be a controversial one as well, but I think if people were in this situation, they would do the exact same thing.
Having your team's backs is more important than letting them. They don't get paid enough to deal with that.
No,
absolutely not.
No. When they're literally their aim in life is to make people feel better.
Aye.
That's what a therapist's job. I think the people that take on a job as a therapist is about them making other people feel better. Self-care. Whether it's massage, whether it's even just having somebody to chat to, whether it's making their nails feel nice, whatever it is that they do for that person that makes them feel nice. I think a therapist is in this job because of that. So it's for them to be treated any other way than respectfully, I just think it's disgusting.
Yeah, I just don't understand why people do that in general, to be honest with you. It's horrible.
I can't see any of our team members justifying it either. I can't see any of them ever being rude or nasty or dismissive or anything like that. So
never. Nah. Such a good team we've got. We're so lucky. So so just a wee heads up, if you're rude to your team, you're gone. You're cut.
Right to me.
But I think that's everything covered, unless you can think of any. That's my list.
No, probably after this I'll be like, we do this and we do that, but I just think even like taking the girls down to the awards, obviously they pay for their travel or whatever, but if we've got awards on, we want them all to be there because we want them to feel that at the table, because sometimes it's their colleague that's up for something, or the school's up for something, or the salon's up for something. And a couple of the times that we have gone, we have had such a good laugh. We've had so many good giggles, and just to all be there as a team. And we know not everybody can be. And we try, if the ones that can't make it, we try and do FaceTime. We try and have them in FaceTime while they announce. Nothing worse than you've got the person on FaceTime. We don't win. We're all sitting at the table like, we'll phone you back.
But again, that's going back to being in a room full of people. Choose your awards wisely as well. So again, we went in for everything when we first opened, as everybody does. And it's became very apparent over the years that what you win just if you buy a table full of people and not in your merit. And I would say that SIBTAC Awards is probably the one and only awards that we tend to go in for now, because it's prestigious. Everybody celebrates in the room whether you win or not. And it's a room full of really lovely high vibe people. Whereas we've been to other ones, it's not so much.
So nice.
Not so much.
You could cut the tension with a knife.
Or it's just different values. And how we kind of portray ourselves and how they portray themselves. It's just different. So we've definitely, and SIBTAC Awards applications is open, so that's how I'm spending my week this week. The mountains of applications that I'm going to be working through. So yes, so if you've trained with us as well, by the way, put us a wee vote in. So
going for student.
I'm going to put out some emails today about who I think should go forward for student of the year, so it's exciting.
And they get to come too.
Yes. One more thing actually that's on my list that's probably going to end up trolling as well. Don't care.
This is going to be lots of social media in this episode.
Fundraisers and gift vouchers. I don't mean to sound off, right? We're a big supporter of charities. We support St Andrew's Hospice and Strathcarron Hospice every year since we opened the business. Every single year, because they're two charities very close to our hearts and our team members' hearts. They're just very important to us. I'm champion that your Wayne's in a dancing comp or a football comp or whatever, but I'm sorry, the way I see it now is, when have you supported my business? Have you even came through the door for a coffee out of Vibes, an eyebrow wax off us, a whatever? And I know it's not like you don't give to receive, but there's an element of support local. Yeah. I feel as if lately we've been inundated
Every other day there's emails
and wanting gift vouchers for fundraisers, and I get it's important to them. But I'm not going to lie, I start looking now to see if any of these people have attended any of our businesses. And see if it is a client that supports regularly, etc. 100% you can have a gift voucher, but see if you've never been through our door and you're expecting something for free. No, I'm not giving you.
I know.
No.
And as you say, we do support those charities every year, so we feel we give a considerable,
we give a substantial amount a year.
We put an event on every year for it, just to raise money for those charities. But as you say, it's like, you know,
Kate's like her toes are curling right now because she knows the repercussions.
No,
but
not at all. Because we did, you know, we had loads last week. I think there was about 4 last week.
And it was, again, I'm not saying it's not important that your kid's in a football team or a dancing team, etc. Personally, we give away to charities that are like St Andrew's Hospice, Strathcarron Hospice,
or raising funds to send somebody abroad to get a really life-saving treatment or whatever.
Yeah, which we've had lately as well and supported. And I'm not saying there's one that's more important than the other, because it's all relative to people's lives. And again, as caveat, if you're a client of ours and your Wayne does have a dancing competition, absolutely. We only have a certain amount of gift vouchers that we give away per quarter, because in the beginning we gave them away willy-nilly and we were making no money and having all these vouchers coming in, and our accountant was like, right, you need to get to grips with this. So we have X amount per quarter, and we use them wisely.
Not only that as well, when my kids were wee and there was a raffle or anything on, I would go and buy a voucher and hand it in as a gift. I didn't expect companies to give me them for free.
I think this is the day and age that we live in, though, isn't it?
I'd go to the shop and buy a big bottle of vodka, or I would go and buy a big box of sweets, or, you know, and I would hand that into my kids' football team for them to fundraise from. But I wouldn't expect somebody else to give me it for free.
And that's at small businesses.
If I didn't go to those places, you know, again, if it was somewhere I went regularly and I was friendly with the person, different. And I'd be like... Big shout out to Michael down in the Village Gentry. Used to give me wee shave vouchers and things, but my boys went there and get their hair cut. And Michael would be like, no bother, Kate. Thank you, Michael. All those years of supporting.
I had one client actually when I worked for home, and obviously home salon as well. You need to kind of, you don't have the budget, but you give. There was one woman who did, I kid you not, probably 6 charity events within the 12 months, and expected me to give her a voucher every single time. And it got to a point that I was just like, I can't afford to. And she just stopped asking. And I think she took the huff with me. But I think people who's asking these questions need to take into consideration, from social media, we always look like we're smashing it, but there are months that are really tight to us. So just be mindful of who you're asking and whether they could possibly afford it. And do you ever support them off the back of them? I know a lot of them, it's like, oh, you'll be named on the Wayne's strip or whatever, but...
You clearly don't give a shit.
I know. I'm like, who looks at that? Really? Who looks at that? So,
well, the dad's standing around the pitch. I know. Are they going to come down to Urban Retreat?
So, sorry if that offends you, but that was another one that I needed off my chest today.
I'm really looking forward to this week's comments on the page. But if you've got anything to share, if you agree or disagree, we take everybody's views. Like, share, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.